And be live. Hello
Nice.
everyone, I'm May.
And I'm Marco here.
Yeah, today we miss Alex, but he'll join us next week. So today we're going to talk about China, COVID policies, and outlook from now. What does it do? What is the implication of zero COVID policy in the past, and how China eased things up? But before we jump into the topics, just like to inform our audiences that we release our live every Tuesday. We try very hard to keep it punctual at 3 p.m. Hong Kong, Singapore time. And then after that, we're going to do shorts so that it's going to be easier to digest. And yeah, so after FTX craziness, and I think it's not yet over, the Ripple effect still
Yeah.
coming through, but the news start to fizzles out a little bit. We want to talk more about China because it's hot, and I think it's going to be very interesting. Marco knows a lot about Hong Kong and China, which I know very little about. So China easing on COVID policy and outlook. What's your take?
Yeah. So we started out having this chat casually around our social circle back in August. One of Alex's friends from Beijing told us that the COVID policy would be relaxed by December this year. And back in August, when China was still very strict in zero COVID policy, which means that they cannot allow any single case of COVID existing in the local community. So meaning there's a lot of like intensive quarantine, a lot of intensive like testing with the general public. It was really hard to imagine in December China will open up, but more and more it looks like this guy is right. This guy was correct back in August. So he must know something that we don't. Now I want to explain a couple of things here. To kind of let our audience to understand what's the difference between the way China is approaching this versus the Western community. Um, so first of all, I think from China's point of view, they want to avoid any kind of sort of hospital congestions. So basically, if people are following the news back in 2019, end of 2019, where Wuhan Hospital first discovered this COVID-19 uh, pandemic or disease, there were a lot of patients kind of congested into the hospital, and they just kind of passed away there in the hallway. And it was a very dramatic scene. I think China wants to do everything it can while it's kind of open up itself to avoid that scene again. So now we're kind of seeing that the COVID sort of policy changing towards that goal. What I mean is that right now, when a foreigner travel into Hong Kong, or actually not, no foreigners is allowed to travel into China right now. Only the sort of Chinese citizen, when they're returning back into China, they have to go through this period of quarantine. And it was originally 21 days quarantine, and now it's down to 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 meaning like 5 days in the hotel and then 3 days at home quarantine. And I think more and more we're going to start seeing this sort of 5 plus 3, and it might turn into 3 plus 3, and then 1 plus 3, and 0 plus 3.
Wow.
And this is this, and I think that that change is gonna, I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna see 0 plus 3 by the end of this year. I think we're gonna see 0 plus 3 like probably like mid next year. So
Next.
China is gonna take, it's gonna take its time to slowly kind of relax the traveling into China quarantine policy. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, and the subject of observing the hospital congestion, if you
Can I
understand what
ask
I'm
you
saying.
some? Can I
Yeah,
ask you
go ahead.
something? I this is for me not knowing a lot about China
No,
COVID and
please,
the
please, please.
strands. And
Yeah.
what do you think about? I mean, now we understand the policy and the reasons behind them, and but this is what I wonder. Um,
Mm,
China has zero COVID policy, nobody in, nobody's out, right? For a
mm,
while, for years, and it's like very strict quarantine. Our mutual friend got 66 days
uh-huh.
in Shanghai. Like that's like
Okay.
crucial, and that's cruel too. That's for me. Like I can't be stuck for
Yeah,
66 days. I'll suffocate. But anyway,
of course.
I was thinking
Mm,
because because the strand hasn't developed or the strand has developed in a way that we don't understand. Now we
mm,
have Omicron or more severe one, XBB, and things. It's getting less and less severe,
yeah,
but not lately. Lately, people get like harder symptoms, but manageable,
mm,
but less and less severe symptoms over the time. And I know
yeah,
that in the global point of view, in the macroeconomics point of view, when the COVID hit, I think people just overreacting, Fed overreacting, all the governments overreacting because people died, and they think it's going to take years, but then later it doesn't. You think that the fact that China closed the country up and maybe the
mm,
strands not mutate in the way that outside of China does, or not mutate at all, the COVID in China is more severe. That's the reason why they're closing up. You think it's what is your take on the fact that China is not open up? I know that the
yeah,
reason behind this is they want to avoid congestion in the hospital, but
yeah,
around the world, in Thailand, in Europe, everywhere, hospitals are congested. In Italy, people just lying on the hospital floor.
yeah,
We
yeah,
saw that everywhere, and but a lot of countries decided to let it does its thing, and let it
yeah,
mutate and become like in local illness.
yeah.
What do you think China policies? Do you think they did it right? This is like a provocative, daring question. Do you think they did it right,
Yeah,
or if you
yeah,
were to make a policy, will you have a different angles or attitude towards this?
yeah. So I'm gonna say something that probably a lot of people will not agree with me on, but I truly believe in that. I think that the Communist China Party, the ruling party of China, back in 2019, saw what happened in Wuhan, right? And I think in their head, they're thinking that there is no way I will allow another city that go through this dramatic experience, because you have to understand that the our country China went through a lot of hardship in the last one decade. Oh, I mean, 100 years.
Mm,
And I think people, a lot of the people that are still alive today, remembers those time. And I think it's very difficult for them to accept us going through these hardship again,
mm,
if you understand what I'm saying. But not to say that the Western government, or some of these sort of, you talk about Italy, United States, they I'm not saying they're not, they're willingly letting these to happen to their people, but I think a lot of the leaderships, because they haven't gone through these hardship for many generations, it was harder for them to imagine how bad it could be.
mm,
So to me, I think the Chinese government is doing everything it can to kind of avoid that 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 dramatic experience from Wuhan. I
mm,
truly believe that that was what they were having in mind, and they were thinking that, okay, the economy can wait. The economy can wait. China has a lot of reserve of money. They can sustain being locked down for a little while, but I think that little while it's also um, overdue now. Like I think the economy is starting to get a little hit and local governments, because of this sort of zero COVID policy for 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, also spend a lot of money without a lot of the proper economic activities with the city. So I think it's a mixture of everything kind of comes together now. So if you think about it, the Omicron it's a less severe disease variants compared to the previous version of the COVID-19, and now also it's time for China to really kind of face the reality of economy and really need to start like generating some activities with the local economy.
True. And you think in China, there's still Omicron in China? Since nobody in and nobody's out, it's difficult to say. That what kind of strand and how severe it is in China if they let the COVID runs free. Do they have to go back to what Europe experienced, from the very first strand of COVID, and do they have enough vaccine?
Yeah, so I think that I think the Omicron, I'm not a medical expert and I should not really say much about this, but what I know from the news that I read, I mean, the dominant variant is still Omicron. And I think that, if the news doesn't cheat me, then I believe that, the Chinese government believe the Omicron, it's a less severe version of COVID-19, and also it would not be lasted that long. Like it would not be asymptomatic for any patient for a long time. Yeah. So it's easier to manage.
Yeah, I had COVID, supposedly Omicron, and I live on cough syrup and paracetamol. And and for those days only those things, and I was fine. It came out all right, and I was so lucky that I didn't have long COVID. Or maybe I have, but I don't know.
But there's also another message that I want to kind of tell our audience, is that Xi Jinping, our president of China, announced a few days ago that he doesn't want any local government to overdone their zero COVID policy. And as a result, the Sichuan province and Guangdong province government has lifted a policy from the general public, which is to when you go to take the subway or any public transportation, you no longer need a 24 hours PCR test.
Okay.
So what it used to is that you have to hold a 24 hours PCR test in order to be on a public transportation. But since a couple of days ago, Sichuan province and Guangdong province government has already lifted their policy for that. So now you can just get on a public transportation without any PCR test, which is good. And I just got off the phone with my colleague in Shenzhen this morning, and they were saying that because there are 100-something cases of COVID in Shenzhen right now, and they were anticipating a very severe lockdown in Shenzhen local community, but that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
So which is good news. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, China's opening up is going to be good for the world too, and I'm really looking forward. Like, I think we are in the deglobalization and starting to get deglobalization more and more and more after COVID, and then Russia and Ukraine, and then oil price, and then it's fragmented, and then things are coming a bit together, not to the way it used to, but I kind of miss globalization when things are more seamless and everything is much cheaper than what we're experiencing right now. So
totally. And I think with Chinese citizen or Chinese population traveling, it's going to be good for Southeast Asia right away. Um,
Mm.
I came across this number the other day. I was chatting with a Thailand King Power merchandising person, and he was saying that uh, excuse me, the secret sales in King Power, it's a major percentage of all the businesses in King Power, right? And apparently 60% of the sales in 2018 are from Chinese passport holder. So
Ah,
without the Chinese passport holder, I mean the secret sale cannot be good, right? In King Power, and
yeah.
yeah,
And
so
I
that
think,
that totally affected the economy directly too.
yes. And the time that China has been closed down, I
Mm,
think I think it's good, and maybe they did it, I don't know, to clean up all the corrupted money,
mm,
because people can't get in. Money is difficult to get in and out. I think this is a time where before they open up again, where the government wants to see, and want to clean their own houses. I think every country needs to clean up and clean up the messes in the house, and I think China
yeah.
has to do too. And with the close down, um, hopefully opening up, China will look cleaner again, and you get everything seamless and clear again. I just hope that they can do it. And it's like, wishful thinking, and I think
Mm.
if someone like China can do it, it's going to be great for the whole economy of China and the whole global economy as well.
Definitely, definitely. I think in China never wanted the world economy to to have problem, right? Like, and I've always said that China is better off with a better a strong Union and a strong North America economy.
Mm.
Global trade, it's a big deal in China. Like I mentioned in previous show, China export, it's a big deal in China economy, and yeah, it's still more than 50% of all the economy in China.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
looking forward, and I think years of closing down, I think China has been researching. And I think if the country with a lot of money to spare, people would do two things: infrastructures and researching, because this is the IP, intellectual property game from now on. And as investor yourself, I think you might see this thing coming, start to see like companies have researching house and intellectual property started popping up. And I think this is a time where see how this IP can monetize. And I think in Europe, they put a lot of money in researchers, and I think China would do the same thing. And I think the next year ahead, after cooking up some interesting ideas on tech and other things, I think
mm,
the world's going to be unrecognizable a couple of years from now, and that is one of the big part that's going to help with the global economy.
totally, 100%. And
Mm.
I think next year is still um it's still grim. But I think after next year, maybe 2024, we're gonna start seeing everything kind of come back to so-called normal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, the China opens up uh kind of pace is going to take a few months. So I don't anticipate something like dramatic, like next month or 2 months later, we're going to see a complete open up of China. It's not. It's. I don't think that's going to happen. But
Mm.
yeah, it's going to happen slowly. And
Wow.
yesterday, I got a news from my friend from Beijing. Also, he said that he thinks starting Christmas time, around Christmas time,
Mm.
we're gonna start seeing foreigner be able allowed to enter China with a visiting visa.
Wow. And vice versa. I wish that other tourists from tourists from China will come and visit some other countries, including Thailand as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think Southeast Asia is going to be the first one that will benefit from this.
And durians are waiting, I'm telling you.
Okay. That's great.
So great.
Mhm.
I think I don't have any further question to you until after
Next
Christmas.
week? Yeah. Okay.
Then
No
I want
problem.
to see how Chinese are doing and if they're coming, and then see how the things progress. I think we should keep tab on this. Maybe we change the
Yeah.
topic next week, but we should keep tab on this and see how actually China is responding to ease down the zero ease down COVID policy, and looking to see how things are progressing.
Awesome. So
Right.
let's just we should end the show now today because we are missing 1/3 of our team, right?
Yeah.
So we should only produce 2/3 of our normal length.
Yeah, but I think it's good enough. Keep
Yeah.
it short, sweet, and concentrated.
Awesome. Okay, well,
All
thank
right.
you guys. I see you guys next week.
All right, and then see you guys next week on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.